Hey, how's it going guys? Xcanimo here, today bringing you a full in-depth guide on how to get better at Cube Defense, how to become a good player, all tips and tricks that you need to know to get better at the game, everything included in this video, so let's get started. Alright guys, so starting things off, before we even get into a game of Cube Defense, the most important thing that you guys need to know is player roles and communication. So what I mean by that is, before you even go into a game, you want to know who you're playing with, and whoever you're playing with, you want to make sure that everybody knows what they're doing, everybody has their roles, and that your team is actually coordinated, so you don't get players going in and doing whatever and placing something here and one guy's doing this, and it's a mess guys. That's not what you want when you're playing Cube Defense. Ideally you want to have one player doing plantations, so that everybody in the game gets more money. It kind of helps the game run a lot smoother, and you got a lot higher chance of winning if you do so. Don't be scared guys when it comes to playing with new players as well, as long as everybody has their roles. Lower tier towers, honestly, I wouldn't be scared of them. There are a lot of lower tier towers in the game that really do a lot of damage, and you know, don't be scared to let players put those towers down as well instead of all of your high tier towers. So if you have somebody who's a higher level with a bunch of new towers and they have a bunch of really strong towers, you know, don't make lower level players not be able to place theirs, because honestly, any kind of DPS is better than no DPS, and it all adds up in the end. Alright guys, it is also really important that with the roles that you choose for your players, that you spread the roles out. So you have players doing some Cube Defense, you have players doing your plantations, you have players doing starting defense, you have players doing economy. The economy could be factory to oil rigs. Whatever it is, just make sure that everybody has a role and that you haven't got one player doing one role all to themselves, like someone doing some Cube Defense and the temples and the early game. It makes the game just honestly less enjoyable for other players, and it's kind of a selfish thing to do. I mean, we're all playing this game together, having fun. Cash gets spread out a lot more evenly once we have everybody doing a different defense. So yeah, just make sure that everybody has their own thing to do. Saves time as well. So while I could, for example, be setting up my temple, someone in the back is doing their economy or doing their plantations or all kinds of things guys. It's really up to you, but just make sure that you spread out the roles, everybody knows what they're doing, and yeah, so moving on to the next bit. Okay guys, so the next tip that I have for you is one of the most important tips in the game, and that is tower placement. It doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but tower placement can make the difference between winning a game and losing a game. So for those people that are wondering what I'm talking about, I'm going to show you right now. On maps such as this, I know a lot of players would, for example, place a tower right on the first corner, and placing on the corner is really good. It's a really good thing to do, so you maximize the range of your tower. However, there are like better places that you could put this. So let's go ahead and just spawn in a Taki boss. So you can see that as this tower is shooting the cube, it's going to go round. We'll just have a look at its range right here. It's got quite a lot of range, you guys are probably thinking, you know? It gets pretty good. But we're going to see how much damage this does compared to better tower placement, like a better way that we could put it. 1,200, 1,100, so it's doing a lot of damage, so it's not bad at all. And it ended off at 700, so that's not bad at all, but we can get a better placement for this. For example, we could put it maybe right here, or maybe even here. We'll get it to the same upgrade as before. Now look, it's still shooting it. Look how much of a range increase this is. So we're going to go ahead and spawn that cube again. I'm going to notice the difference. So So what was this left on? It hit it a little 700. So it did around 1,700 damage. 1,500, sorry. Sorry guys, 1,500 damage from that mountain mini. And this stacks too, so it's not just one tower's damage. If you have all your towers in a better placement, then, you know, that extra damage adds up. So this thing's half dead already. It's like, oh my god, look at this. Much better than before. All of this range left and it's already at what it was before. So this one was left with, oh my, 150. So this one tower, just because of placement, managed to do an extra 500 damage, maybe 550 damage. That's insane. And if you stack these with like a bunch of other towers, like if you have other towers doing the same thing, that's going to be so much extra damage that you're going to be building up just from placing your towers in a better spot. On top of the better placement, guys, it's not just about doing more damage, you'll have to spend less on defenses as well. So with that extra 500 damage, that's like another mountain mini that you don't have to place, and then that's another, you know, 1,300 cash that you can spend on factories. So it all adds up, so placement is key. Another thing as well, especially in Chaos and Hard mode, TNT cube bosses and nuclear cubes, they are a real pain. So when you're playing, don't put your towers right at the very front, because they are just going to get instantly nuked. Like even a Ra, if I put down a Ra, I'm going to just like level it up a little bit right here. Like already you can see it's just being nuked. Even if this was maxed, it's just getting nuked. And it's just, it will just disable everything at the front. And once, I don't know, 22 starts for example, that Ra has already been disabled because we placed it right at the very front. However, if we put one, say at the back, and this works for all towers, it's not just the temples, any kind of tower, don't be scared to let your cubes go a little bit further through the map. Look at that. And it blew up, and it's still, the Ra is still attacking. I know it sounds silly, but like these kinds of things really matter when you're playing cube defense. Like all these kinds of little things, they all add up and they all make things easier. See, like look, these TNT cube bosses are blowing up right at the start, and it's just nowhere near the temple. It can keep hitting. Even if I had my OCs, my OSs at the back, anything like that. Another really important thing to remember when it comes to tower placement is really high range towers like orbital satellite and orbital cannon, those kinds of things. You can put them right at the back of the map, like you don't have to put them right at the front. So lower range towers like your railguns and your rail minis and things, a lot of the time the space at the front is taken up by people placing OCs, OSs, all those high range towers right at the front of the map, and you guys don't have to do that. Like if we upgrade one of these OCs to max right here, you can see the whole map, you can see far off the map. It's perfectly fine. So you don't need up extra room that I could use for minis, or you know, anything like that. So make sure you place high range towers at the back, and leave the front for the lower range towers like your stars and things. Another tip guys, when it comes to tower placement, is make sure you place your towers neatly, or like as neat as you can. Like if I just throw my shocker down wherever, it's not going to get the most out of the range, especially like level 1s. If I just put it down, oh screw it, I'll put it there. Like that's not even going to see this corner, you know what I mean? Like if we tuck this tower right in here, like so, that actually will see cubes on this corner. It's actually really important, because it doesn't seem like it, but it is really important. And I can fit, if I do it neatly, like look how many mountain minis I can fit just here by doing them neatly. Just in this one small spot, that's 6. It's crazy. And it saves room, especially on small maps like this map, like grasslands like Bucket Shrine in the middle. Neat tower placement is another really key thing that high level players do to get better at the game and to make their games run a lot smoother. Now here comes one of the more key things, especially for chaos. Not so much hard mode, but if you are planning on doing chaos, this is another key thing that you need to keep in mind, and that is temple placements. I would have your temple placements mapped out in your head before you start doing anything else, like before you start placing any major towers. For example, in this map, our tower placements that I play with, I like to put a temple here, temple here, here, and here, and there, and there. So those are all 5 of the temples that I like to place, but quite often people like to put like Poseidon's here before we've even got this temple maxed, and it's just going to end up getting eaten. And even if you sell it, like that's a lot of cash. If we just work that out right now, 10,000 plus 2,000, that's like what, 13,000 with the 500, 20,000, 50,000, 175,000. You sell it for 134. You've just lost 40,000 cash just by not thinking about where you put your towers, and that's not even mentioning a campfire. So keep your temple placements in mind. On some maps you even have to do a couple temples before you can put down Mark II, because if you don't, you won't be able to fit it anywhere. So just keep in mind where you place them, and if you need to, get them down before you place your Mark II or your tombs, just so you save yourself some cash and you get eco. So for example, on this map, I like to start my factories over in this area. So this sun temple here I won't do until last, so I make the most out of my money while still thinking about where I'm going to put this temple. Alright guys, the next tip that I have for you is cash management. Now, when you're playing the game, cash is key. If you have all the cash in the game, you can play towers, as many towers as you like, and you pretty much win. But we don't, unfortunately, and that means we have to spend our cash in the most smart ways, I guess you could say, as possible. So, just a couple of tips coming your way. One of the more important things that people do not know is campfire. Campfire reduces cost price, but it doesn't do it immediately. So if we're looking at these OCs right now, 3,780 to upgrade, and then look, it's 3,780 without the campfire. So you have to wait, you have to be patient. Now it's dropped down to 3,200, and you upgrade it, and you have to wait again. So this is like a really important thing that you guys need to remember when you're trying to save your cash and you're trying to like spend your cash more wisely. When it comes to campfires, just be patient and you'll get things a lot cheaper. Alright, so another tip that I have for you guys is start your economy towers as early as you possibly can. The reason for this is when it comes to the waves are a lot easier to start with, so you don't need to place down as many towers, which obviously is less cash that you need to spend. But the earlier you get down your eco, the more money you're going to get throughout the game. So if you start your oil rigs or factories on wave 1 compared to wave 20, you're going to get those 20 waves of factory cash or oil rig cash on top of everything else you're getting, and it all adds up. And you can get, if you start your factories earlier, then you can get stronger defenses earlier, and then you can get more money because you're killing all the cubes. It's like a domino kind of effect. So just make sure that you're referring back to earlier, that you're placing your towers in the right spots, and if you're doing that, then you can save money and put down your eco towers, and then you keep in mind all of your temple placements, and you save money on your campfire, and your game will be running very smoothly. Another couple of tips that I have for you guys is you want to not waste money on temple gain. Don't be scared to go into sandbox and then go have a look at what the cheapest temple gain is. Test out how much you get for how much you spend. I found that without using golden light turret, mortars and golden glue gun are the cheapest. You can use walls as well. The only downside is walls, while they are one of the cheapest temple games in the entire game, they take a really long time to place, and they don't give you any actual defense compared to like these mortars and glues. So as you can see here, I'm waiting for the upgrade 3000 and it goes down to 2000. So mortars you want to get to only tier 4 if you're going to use them, because anywhere past that it's not really worth it, and glues you can just safely max. And this is going to go on to our next tip, guys, which is the campfire glitch. I don't know if you guys know about this, but there's like a kind of glitch with the campfire that you can do to get your temple up a little earlier. So altogether right here, including the campfire, we have 1000 temple gain. Now you can actually sell the campfire and still have the reduced price on the temple if you do it fast enough. So we're going to make up for the 25 that we're losing with the campfire by upgrading 2 mortars. And if we sell the camp and then upgrade the temple fast, it still costs 140,000 and it's still maxed out. So if you do that with all of your temples, or maybe towards the start of the game when cash is a bit short, then you're going to save yourself a couple thousand, and yeah, you can spend that on. Next on the list of tips that I have for you guys today is actually knowing your towers. I know it sounds silly, it might sound a bit strange, but knowing what your towers do and their stats, how much they cost and how much damage they do, is really important. Like, you could just throw down like a mountain mini right here, and like if we were to start a wave, like sure it will do damage, but it costs money and whatever. But this isn't necessarily the best tower that you could be using for this wave. So if you have a look, we have a lot of bunched up cubes here. So a single fire tower like this wouldn't necessarily be that good, you know? So what we're going to do is clear out this wave really quick, just so I can show you guys. Okay. Now let's try using something like a shocker. It's got a lot less DPS, I think. Wait, no, the DPS is pretty good, but the range is really bad. So this wouldn't be very good for bosses, for example. But as you can see, it just melts these cubes. Like, it's so much better for this specific wave. And you know that just by knowing your towers. The mountain mini, let's compare DPSs really quickly. So at Bullet Thorn, 40 DPS, so 4 damage every 0.1. The shocker is around 30 DPS, so it doesn't have as much damage, but the fire rate compared to the area of effect that it has, it all adds up, and in this situation it's a better tower. So don't be scared, as I'm doing right now, to go into Sandbox, test out the towers that you have, you know, test out just some towers and just see what works and what doesn't work. There's nothing wrong with failing, you know? Like, let's try it with mortars. See, like these mortars, they're not doing a great job. And that's fine, you can just come and have a look. You're learning about your towers. Keep in mind how much they place, how much they cost to place as well. Because a shocker is probably cheaper than both of these together, and it does better. But when it comes to bosses, like so, this is not doing very well at all. The shocker ends up doing, let's see, just over 300 damage. It's like nothing. So it's really important, guys, and just pay attention to it. So another thing as well, when it comes to sun cubes, for example, let's get up a sun cube wave really quick. You could spend as much money as you like, and it might not even be enough. Like, I'll show you what I mean. So if we use towers, bullet storms, just level all these up, and we'll throw it against the sun cube. that's quite a lot of money that I've just spent on that. Okay. And they're doing a good job, you know? And this map is pretty small, so these do a really good job against this, you know? Like, the map is really important as well. So they did that good. So if we were to do something, like, let's try some OCs. We'll probably get 2 maxed OCs for what we just got there. Like, look at that. So in this instance, OCs would be a lot better than mounted minis for this kind of defense. And that just comes from knowing your towers, like knowing how much damage they do. Knowing they have complete map range as well, so they're not limited by being placed at the front or anything like that. Alright guys, so the final tip that I have for you today is knowing the waves that of the game mode that you're playing on. So a lot of times when players are going through the game, they forget what comes at what wave and they end up getting themselves killed because of it. I've seen a lot of players upgrade their temple around wave 23, 24, and then they don't have any Sunkeep defense at all. They've just spent all their money on this temple and this Sunkeep is just coming and draining their health. Or, as we said earlier, when players place all their towers at the front, just before the TNT waves. Whatever wave that kills you, like if there's a spam wave, make sure you have spam defense. If there's Sunkeep wave, make sure you got Sunkeep defense. If there's TNT waves, make sure you place your towers at the back of the map. Make sure you're prepared ahead of time, because if it comes round to the wave and you haven't got the defense that you need, then you are gonna die. That's guaranteed. That's how most players die when it comes to keep. So while you're playing, even if you're gonna die, just have a look at the waves. Have a look at what waves kill you, what waves you struggle with, and try and plan ahead of time. You don't really need a temple before wave 25, so you guys can focus on Sunkeep defense before then. And maybe when it comes to the purple keep boss rush, then you can get a temple down for that. Alright guys, to finish things off, we're going to head into a game with my friend Zip, and we're going to do a chaos game, and I'm going to show you all of the tips that I just spoke about in this video, live in a game. So I show you that all of them do work, and that all of them mean something. So let's get right into it. Alright guys, so let's get started with this game. So first things first, we're going to talk about, again, tower placement. Like so. Player roles, we have Zip over there doing plantations. We're going to start economy early. I know my towers, so I know to upgrade this to more staff to get the most out of the money. And I know that my towers are going to be doing enough damage. So we have 1, 2, 3. I know the waves are small packed cubes, so that's another tip. That's 4 tips, and it's only wave 1. Alright guys, so wave 9 is coming up. I know that that is the boss wave for chaos, like the first boss that we come across. So I'm planning ahead. I have these towers down at the moment. I have my economy started. The boss is coming now, I know that. And I have I would assume all the towers that I need so far. So all this, I've been following a lot of steps in this, and I know the next wave is going to be tough as well, so I'm going to go ahead and add another one, like so. And just like that guys, just with a couple towers and a couple tips that we followed, one of the harder waves is done. Alright guys, now that I have the money, I'm going to put down the first temple, bearing in mind all the temple locations that I have brought up in my head. And I'm going to put it far from the back so it doesn't get stunned by TNT. Alright guys, so another tip that we learned, selling the campfire and upgrading the temple. And just like so guys, we know that wave 25 is coming soon, so we're starting on our Sunkeep defense ahead of time, not upgrading until it is ready, like so. Alright guys, so we keep getting quite far. Cheap temple sacrifice now. We have the MK2 at the back to make it a lot cheaper. We have the Sunkeeps because we thought ahead of time. I have my eco at the back, so does Zip, so we don't eat it with any of the early game temples. So we're following all of the steps that were in the video, and so far we're doing really good. Alright guys, so let's just have a little rundown of everything that we've got going on here since we've just got this black hole cube left to leak. We have our economy at the back, we have our high range towers at the back, we have Mark II down for extra damage and price reduction. We have factories started early, we have temple placement all done. We have neat tombs so we can fit them all together. We put our temples quite neatly together. And yeah, we had rolls, so that all together adds to a victory. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really hope that you enjoyed it and that it helped you out in queue. And if you'd like to see more videos like this, please hit the subscribe button and like, comment and share with your friends. It's Xcanimo and I'll see you in the next video. Have a nice day guys.